Right then, I think we're live. Are we live? I think we are. Okay. Right then, I think we're live. Are we live? I got a minute. I think we are. Let's just mute that. Okay, so guys, this is a very special live tonight. It's the very first Beard Invades live. So I've not done this before. This is the first one, so who knows what's going to happen. I've got Wayne, the woodturner, backstage. So without further ado, let's invite him in. There you go, Wayne. How you doing?
Evening. How's everybody?
Brilliant. We're brilliant. So, like I said, this is the very first The Beard Invades live. So you, unfortunately, have drawn the short straw, and you're the guinea pig for this one, Wayne. Okay. So, as normally, we won't have people interacting like this. We'll be recording it and then I'll edit it. This is slightly different because we've got lots of people in the chat. I'm not going to mention everybody because there's loads of them in there. But what I'd like to do is get the guys involved later on. So if anybody in the chat has got any questions for Wayne at the end, I'll invite you to ask. All you need to do is put in the chat question for Wayne, and then I'll ask Wayne that question, just so he doesn't have to keep the chat. Sorry?
Nothing too difficult.
Okay. Well, you ain't gone through mine yet. So, as you know, you've seen all of my invasions, Wayne. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
There's no different other than that we're live. Okay. So, first of all, thanks for doing this with me, Wayne.
No bother.
Love your channel. Love you as a guy. You're in every single live that you could possibly go into, helping the guys out, earworming and that sort of thing. So,
views.
yeah, so we all appreciate you for that. So thanks very much. Let's get into it then. So first question for you, Wayne, is tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Right. I'm 66. I've been a wood turner since 1986. So that's coming up 34 year. Be 34 year, probably October this year. I was in the army for 12 years as a mechanic. Left the army, carried on being a mechanic for about 3.5, 4 years, and decided I didn't like doing that anymore. So I trained to be a nurse. So I worked in the care sector. I started training as a nurse in 1990, qualified in 93, and worked in the care sector until I retired in May of last year. So I'm married, no kids, 3 dogs. I think that's probably about enough for that.
That's cool. Thanks very much. Okay, so the next question I usually ask is, why YouTube? What made you pick up that camera and either start documenting what you're doing or sharing it with the world?
Right. I've actually had a channel on YouTube since I think it's about 2012, but I didn't have any content. I just basically watched everybody, the likes of Carl. I still remember Carl Jacobson when he had his old lathe, very, very old lathe, many, many moons ago. Mike, Martin, various others that I watched, the Wyoming wood turner, all these people, and I just thought I'll just give it a go. So I gave it a go and carried on.
Okay. So inspirations, was there anyone or anything or something that happened that inspired you to do what you do as far as wood turning?
Right. The two main inspirations from when I started turning, one was a guy called Jamie Walwyn. He was a wood turner. He was co-founder and owner of Craft Supplies when they were still in Millersdale, just outside Buxton in Derbyshire. Had my first wood turning lessons with him. And another guy who I admired a hell of a lot, was a guy called Maurice Mullins, who is sadly no longer with us. He was a Lancashire lad, but he was based in Cumbria, and I went and had a few lessons with him as well. Very, very good turner. In fact, at one point, he held the Guinness Book of Records for the smallest goblet with a captive ring at one point.
Oh, right.
So they were the initial ones. Latterly, once I started getting into colouring a hell of a lot, the likes of Mick Hanbury, Martin, Gary Lowe. There's a good few others as well who I really like watching for colouring stuff.
Okay. So was that why what made you pick up that chisel in the first place, or
what made me pick up the chisel in the first place? Okay, when I left the army, or when I was leaving the army, at that time we had what was called then a pre-release course, and this was basically to help people get back into civilian life once they'd spent a fair amount of time in the army. We had just bought the cottage where we still live, and it needed a fair bit of work doing to it. So I did a course called an introduction to the building trades. So we did a bit of brickying, a bit of plastering, a bit of joinery work, and they had a machine shop there, and we were allowed in the machine shop. And actually they had a graduate lathe there, union graduate lathe, and the first thing I ever turned was a handle for a plasterer's hawk. That was the first thing I ever turned. Came home on leave, bought a second-hand lathe, and basically never looked back. I've gone through, I don't know how many lathes now I've gone through, but the ones I've got at the moment, I'm well happy with.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so the bit that always, this next question always, I'm always interested in to see what people are using, and that's the cameras. What camera system do you use?
If you just give us a second, I'll just change cameras. In fact, no, I'll show you the one camera first, and then I can change camera and show the other ones. That's the one of the cameras I use. I think these are about 90 quid off Amazon. This mainly gets used for when I'm doing the introduction to my lives and everything. But what I've also got, and this was, I'm just going to change camera. It's probably going to be the wrong one. Oh, that one I'm wanting. Right, so I've gone on to that main camera now. So I can actually show you the cameras that I use. So I've got that one there, which I've been talking into, and I've got another two webcams there, and I've also got another webcam there, which is the overhead one. And these were all courtesy of our good friend Dale. He's given me a hell of a lot of help over the months to get me set up with everything. In fact, I'll show you that when I do the tour, the computer that I've got. Yeah. So those are the cameras I've got. So the one that we're on at the moment, I usually have that pointing from the tailstock end of the lathe down to the headstock. The overhead one's pretty self-explanatory, and the other two, one comes sort of a bit from the front, the other one's from the side. So those are the cameras that I use.
Okay, and you use OBS, don't you?
Yes, I've finally figured out how to use OBS. So what I've done in StreamYard, I've got all the cameras set up in OBS, because when I use StreamYard purely for streaming, I can't do any sort of zooming in and zooming out. Whereas if I can show you on this camera, using OBS, I can actually alter the camera.
Yeah.
So I can get zoom in and zoom out. And I've just got StreamYard set up all the time, because what you do with OBS, you can do a virtual cam, and I've got that linked into StreamYard. So within StreamYard, I've just got it set up on the OBS camera all the time, and that's how I link the OBS through StreamYard, and it tends to work pretty well.
Yeah. And what do you use for editing? What editing software? So you don't. Okay.
No, I do. I've got Cyberlink Director. That's the one that I use.
Okay.
The two main problems with doing videos for me. Number one, I absolutely hate editing. So all of my videos that you might watch, they all tend to just have a bit time lapse in, and that's about it. The other thing with doing editing is that we have very, very poor internet here. So even for a 20-minute video, it probably takes over an hour to upload. Another reason. That's another reason I don't like doing. But the main thing is I just don't like editing. It's just not my cup of tea, which is why I prefer doing the lives.
Yeah. It's just point and shoot and see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know. So just to let you know, before we start the tour, you've got a nice turnout. There's 48 people that tuned in to watch this tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Nice. I'm not surprised, to be honest, but there you go. Okay, so do you want to take us a little tour of your shop?
Okay, before we start the tour, I am not going to apologise for the state it's in. This is the way it always is. The other thing is that if you are squeamish, at some point during this tour, you're going to see a deer carcass hanging from the rafters.
Okay. That's fine. We can edit that out, but just be careful. I mean, I'm glad you didn't tidy your shop up, Wayne, because this is what we know you as. We know you as, you know.
Right. Here we go. Where should I start? Where should I start? I'll start. I don't know if you can see it properly. Down there is my wood burner. Panning round, that's my toolbox, all my sockets and spanners and everything in there. Next to the toolbox, underneath that pile of wood that's there, there's a 1632 drum sander, and further on from that there is my router table. Quickly get past the deer carcass. That's my bandsaw. It's a Jet 18R, so it's got an 18-inch throat, and it's got a 12-inch depth of cut, so I can rip down some fair-sized bow blanks. Next to the also got a dust extractor there, which goes directly onto the bandsaw. There's the Jolly Green Giant. That's the VB36. Over in the corner, underneath that, all that pile of stuff over in the corner is my 5-function machine. That's an old Start-Right. It's a table saw, planer thicknesser, spindle moulder, and mortiser. I've got that on casters, so whenever I'm going to be doing any flat work, I can just pull it out of the corner into the middle of the shop to use it. And then coming around, if you see, can you see those aluminium plate things with the duct tape wrapped around them? Yeah, that's the floodgates.
Oh, right, okay.
That's my pillar drill. It's a floor-mounted pillar drill, and it's one of the radial ones, so I can adjust the diameter of things on there. This is my sanding and grinding station here, which again is on wheels. Down at the back of that, that's my compressor, down in the back of there, and that's the air reel, or air hose for the compressor. Coming round, we've got shelving here with just all bits and bobs on there. Carry on round. This is my power tool shelving. So I've got my saws there, angle grinders, routers. I've got a good few routers. So I've got all them there. And then coming round, I've got, I'll just excuse the joyride.
Hold on tight, guys.
Down here, I've got you can't really see it very well. That's all my jaws for me chucks. Up, I've got all my finishing stuff up there. And further up, I've got all the intrinsic colours. And then coming along, we've got the Pro Edge. Oh, down here, this is the box that I keep the pen kits in, which is usually empty because I don't tend to do pens very often. This is my sanding box. So I've got all my discs in here. The top one's got 80, 120, then 180, 240, 320, 400. So that's all the discs in there. Then I have the sheets down in the bottom. All my measuring stuff, dividers and calipers and things like that. Sharpening system. So I've got the Pro Edge. So that's set up just behind the lathe. So I can just turn around and sharpen something. Speed sizer, various buffing wheels and sanding stuff on there. I tend to keep me chucks underneath that bit of shelf, and then we'll move on to the turning tools. So sort of here we've got all the bow gouges. I've got miniature set of tools up there. Further along up the top, that's where my scrapers are, and then going along just a whole variety of turning tools I've got over there. Over towards the corner, this is a few pieces that are going to be going back onto the lathe for a redesign. And then right in the corner, I've got all my hollowing tools over there. And then just coming round up on the top shelf there, I've got all my paints. Sorry, that's the middle shelf. Right up at the top, magazines, instructions, and loads of different books. Empty yogurt pots and things for mixing paint in. Over here, that's all the drawers for all the screws, air nails, and various other bits and bobs like that. And then we have the lathe. So, like everybody knows now, I think it's the Axminster 1628. It's got a piece of ash on there at the moment, which is going to be tomorrow's project for the live. Got my air filter just above the lathe, and it's the tail stock end of the lathe. I've got my dust extractor there, and I've also got a Karcher hoover there as well. So that's basically the tour. So I'll just change this camera back again. A quick tour.
Yeah.
Horrendous amount of stuff I've got. I really have got loads and loads of stuff. But the thing to remember is that this has all been accumulated over 30 odd years.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go out last weekend and buy everything.
Yeah. So what size is your workshop then?
Internal measurements 17 by 17
right.
foot.
So that's not a bad size then. Yeah.
No, I did have the space, and I should have. I could have had it a fair bit wider than the at one side, which I probably should have done.
Yeah.
But hindsight, you know what hindsight is.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. And I know that you struggle with flooding up there as well, don't you?
Oh yes, we do.
That's something you gotta constantly contend with. Well, thanks for that tour. That's great. We got a little bit of an insight into your maker space. So I'll carry on with the questions then, if that's all right. So
yeah,
normally at this point, I would ask if you're going to Makers, but that's a sore subject at the moment. So
we went to Makers on Saturday night.
We did, yeah. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask you a slightly different question involving Makers. What was your highlight of going to Makers last year?
Highlight of last year, the highlight for me is always the bar.
Yeah. Is that because of the people?
Yeah, it's because you get to meet people while you're at Makers, but you get to know them better when you're in the bar.
Yeah.
And everybody tends to congregate at the Hilton bar anyway.
Yeah.
The other highlight was being invited by Glyn to be on the stand and demonstrate the grit. So
Glyn's in the chat, by the way.
Yeah. He usually is. He's probably having a drink. He usually does. But yeah, that was another highlight. Working with Glyn and Joe and Mike on the stand last year, we had a great time doing that. I think, to tell you the truth, I think it was just the whole event.
Okay.
Because last year, the first year I went, I didn't know many people. I think I knew Glyn and Steve and Dave Gunner, and I had just been in contact on Facebook, so I got to know Dave as well. But I didn't really know very many people at the first one. But at last year's, I knew a hell of a lot more people. There was a hell of a lot more people to talk to, and who you weren't afraid to go and say hello to.
Yeah, yeah. I found the Hilton was great because obviously I like the whole thing, but once people get a couple of spirits or beers inside them, they start
down the neck.
Yeah, well, you start to see the real person, don't you? And it's great.
Yeah, and everybody loosens off a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you touch on this Wednesday's project. Is there any other projects that you're thinking of doing in the future that we should look out for?
Yes, I think everybody knows that I don't tend to do resin. But last Thursday on Scott's Light, the Blue Lake Turner, we were talking about, as everybody has been just recently, the GPS Makers Pack.
Supply crate. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about that, and I happened to mention that I quite fancy turning a bit of the faux ivory and doing a holoform. I did get in touch with Alison after you did the Invade at GPS. I got in touch with Alison and basically asked how much it was for the size I wanted, and it was a bit out of my price league. So on Thursday night, what did JP do? He got in touch with her, and it seems there is a piece on the way. So I will be doing a nice faux ivory hollow form with, and so I'm hoping to just send in that one piece. But it'll have an ebonized wood finial for it as well, and I'll probably be doing that live.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because we don't see you do resin, and like you say, you don't do resin normally. But,
no, but I've done, apart from I've done a few resin pens, and that's about it really. But I really like the look of that faux ivory, so yeah. I thought if I get a chance, I'll give that a go. And it
no pressure then.
No pressure. No whatsoever.
Okay then. So next question. Have you got a favorite tool?
Yes,
and have you got a least favorite tool?
My favorite tool at the moment is the Robert Sorby 1/2-inch Excelsior bowl gouge. It's coated with oh God, I forget the name now. Titanium nitrate. So it tends to hold its edge 3 to 4 times longer than ordinary high-speed steel. So that's my favourite tool at the moment. Tends to be the go-to tool. My least favourite tool, or the tool that really scares the living death out of me, is the spindle molder on the 5-function machine.
Oh, right, okay.
I know people talk about table saws, they talk about planers and things like this. A spindle molder will kill you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right. I mean, if you imagine a router with a 1 1/4-inch spindle on it, you know, that's what my spindle molder's got.
Yeah.
And it's a nasty beast of a machine.
Yeah.
It does some brilliant work, but it's scary.
It's funny that is how people have their favourites, but usually their least favourite tool is something that they're quite scared of, you know, and that's funny how that always comes up. You know?
Well, yeah, I really now I have watched quite a few things on spindle molders. It's just that if you are not careful with them, it's going to bite you, and it's going to bite you bad.
Yeah.
Because the speed that it turns and the sharpness of the cutters, it's nasty.
Oh yeah. Okay, so right, so direction of channel. So where do you hope to be in 12 months' time with this channel?
I would think that the way that my channel is going at the moment, hopefully a lot bigger. But I think it's still going to be predominantly live shows rather than videos.
Okay.
I get a lot of enjoyment doing the live shows. There's a lot of interaction doing the live shows. I tend to get there are quite a lot of questions during the live shows as well. So, there's a chance to either put my point of view or give tips or give advice while I'm actually doing the shows as well, which is part of what I'm about anyway.
Yeah, that's what we appreciate, because obviously you've got a lot of experience. And yeah, I mean, I ask you questions all the time. I try and learn off you, and everyone else does. So it's free advice.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a shout out?
Right. I'm going to do the same shout out as I did when I was on Makers International, and that is Country Wood Girl. Okay. Country Wood Girl is from Cumbria. She works in the family cabinet making business. She shows projects that they're actually doing in the workshop, the flat work stuff that they're doing, but she does quite a bit of turning herself as well. So that's my shout out.
Cool. Okay, thanks for that. If you can just send me a link to her channel whenever you're ready. Okay, so what we're going to do now, which is a slight change to the normal format of this because we're live, I'm going to invite the people in the chat now to come up with a few questions for you, Wayne, if that's all right.
Yeah, no problem.
So, guys, in the chat.
One proviso, though. You're only allowed to ask me questions that I know the answer to.
Okay, that's fine. So, when they start coming up, I'll start shouting them out to you. I think there's a little bit of a delay. It should start coming through. So start your question with a question for Wayne, please, guys, so I can kind of focus in. Right, question. What's one of Wayne's funniest army memories? Okay,
one of my funniest army memories is actually getting locked out of Germany. Right. We were in Osnabrück at the time, and we'd gone across to Holland, I think to see a band, to go and have a few drinks and see a band. Holland wasn't that far away, but this was back in 79, 80 time. This was, and the borders weren't open all the time. Some of the smaller borders still had gates, and we were going back to Osnabrück, got to the German border, and it was bloody locked. What a 70-mile detour to get back home. So yeah, that certainly comes to mind.
I'm sorry, that was from JP, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it might have been.
Okay, so next question is from Glyn Senior. What's the strangest way you've resigned from a job?
The strangest way I've resigned from a job. It's usually when I start doing colouring.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and Glyn tends to say you sacked again. No, strangest way I've resigned from a job. That's a good question. See, I don't know, because I haven't had many jobs since I left the army. Because I went straight into being a mechanic, and then I left there to do nurse training, and sort of since then I've never been unemployed since then until I retired.
Okay, cool. So I've just noticed something that I'm learning, by the way. So I can do this and put the next question on screen. So, Mr. Ruben, will you do a project on that big green lathe anytime soon?
Yes, Ruben, I will.
Okay.
Quick answer to your question. Sometime in the next few weeks, I'll stick a dot of wood on the beast.
Okay, cool. Next question. The cat and the fish crafting. Are all tool magnets special ones or just IKEA ones?
Just like IKEA ones. The ones that I've got the tools resting on, I bought from, it was either Aldi or Lidl, one of the two.
Okay, so I've got a question from Larry, but Larry hasn't put a question. So is there a tool that you don't have that you want to get?
I would really like to have a Doug Thompson bull gouge, just to see if they are as good as what everybody says they are.
Cool. Next question. This is from Midnight Joker. If Wayne didn't have that Sorby gouge, what would his favourite tool be?
Let's have a look. Right. Before I got the half-inch Sorby gouge, I had the 3/8. In fact, I've still got the 3/8 Sorby Excelsior. Before I had them two, my go-to bull gouge was the half-inch bull gouge from Simon Hope. And the thing that I like about this one is that it's double-ended.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I've got a fingernail grind on one end, and I've got a swept back grind on the other end.
Oh, that's genius.
So yeah, plus it's got the handle, which is just a twist lock handle on this, so it works very well. So yeah, before the two Sorby ones arrived, my go-to bull gouge is the Simon Hope.
Okay, so next question is from Dale, Maple Tree Studios. How many wood turning or maker-related T-shirts do you have?
How many do I have at the moment? Right, I've got my Makers Media Network one from last year. I've got my original Funnel Club one. I've got my new Funnel Club one. And I've got my, one being delivered shortly.
Cool. I'll try and stick a link in the description to those T-shirts if you like.
Right. Remember to put in on the Funnel Club one, there's a discount code which is JPW15 for 15% off.
Okay. Cool. Next question, Mama Bear's. It's Tracy. So, how long ago was it that you found the Joe Sonia paints?
Right, I started using Joe Sonia paints. Now, when was that? 2 years ago. It was I had been using other iridescent paints before then, and I did used to make my own iridescent paints because you can just buy an iridescent medium and mix it in with ordinary acrylics to turn it into iridescent paints. Joe Sonia paints are a little bit different. I bought my first lot of Joe Sonia paints at Maker Central 2018, so that'd be, I can't remember what month that was now, but it was 2018.
Cool. So I've got a sneaky double question here from Barry, Real Simple Things. How many chisels do you have?
I've got no idea.
What's your most favourite thing you've made?
The most favourite? Oh, see, that changes all the time.
Yeah.
The one that I keep on coming back to on a fairly regular basis is the water drop bowl, which is what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
Anything with colour.
Okay, cool. So rubber dub wood. Do you turn many lamps or do you like turning them?
Lamps, no, I stopped turning lamps when you had to start getting them pat tested to sell.
Okay. Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Next question, Robert Lapsley. Is there a new craft you'd like to learn?
A new craft I'd like to learn. Probably something to do with metalworking. I have tried welding in the past with limited success. So yeah, probably something to do with metalworking. I have got a pyrograph machine which I use on wood, so that isn't new. Yeah, metalwork.
Cool. So I'm going to go through just a couple more now. So Debbie Beardall, does Jane have any input to any of your projects, or does she have a go on the lathe?
No, in answer to the second part of that one, she doesn't have a go on the lathe. Jane has her own stuff that she does. She's a jewellery maker. It tends to be beaded type jewellery and things like this. She's got her own workstation in the house. No, she doesn't really have any input into the projects that I make. She will tell me honestly whether they are good or bad once they're finished.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, Sneaks Wall Art. This is Clive. Do you have a favourite piece of wood you want to turn but might not manage to get your hands on yet?
Probably Buckeye Burl, which is over in the States. A lot of the exotics I've actually turned in the past. Because I've been turning sort of nearly 34 years now, so a lot of the exotics I have turned in the past. We don't tend to get a hell of a lot of American woods across here. But I'd certainly like to turn a piece of Buckeye Burl. Nice.
So, JP, does Wayne have a vast double-ended tool collection?
No, I've only got that. Is it that one? No, the spindle gouge from Simon Hope. So I've got the half-inch spindle gouge, which is a double-ended one. Again, I've got a fingernail on one end and a swept back detail grind on the other end. They are the only two which are double-ended.
Okay, I'm just going to pick just a couple more questions now. So if I do miss your question, guys, I apologise.
You can always come back in tomorrow night and ask it then.
Of course you can, yeah. Right, let's just pick one at random. Question. Okay, let's have a look at this. What's this one? This is good turning daily. Wayne, what turning are you most proud of, and do you still have it?
Right, turning I'm most proud of, and do I still have it? Right, one of the turnings that I was most proud of, it was a big, excuse me, it was a big burr elm bowl, which measured, I think it was around about 18 or 19 inches across, and it was about 7 inches deep. And I think I kept the wall thickness fairly chunky on that one. It was about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter wall thickness. Do I still have it? No, I'm afraid not. One of the art collectives in the shop last year, somebody had left. So they said, will you bring some of your big stuff in just to fill up the space? So I took some of my big stuff in to fill up the space, and it sold. It was a wood turner from Inverness that bought it, so I was quite chuffed about that.
Cool.
I have got one piece still in the house, which was a piece of laburnum, and it was from the base of the trunk.
Is that purple?
It's a very dark green.
Oh, okay.
It goes a very dark, a really dark brown once it's weathered and oxidized a bit. But that was really nice. Had a bit of character. Had a hole in one side of it. A bit of the sapwood was still on there. The sapwood's very light, but I've still got that one. I was quite proud of that one. I've still got that one.
Okay, just a couple more now. Right, so Shop Dog, what's your go-to grind on your gouges? Do you use
45,
multiple?
45.
40. Okay, cool. Real simple things. Realistically, how many bowls have you turned?
Oh, God. I have absolutely no idea. No idea whatsoever. It must be thousands.
Yeah.
It must be.
Right, so this is the most important question. And the last one, this is from JP, because I didn't show JP's earlier on. Question, where's your Yorkshire grit, as we didn't see on the tour? Is that because you were sacked again, or are you re-employed again?
Re-employed.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. Yorkshire grit. Unopened tin.
So now we know where he stashes it all, guys. Anyway. Right.
At least I don't think I'm sacked again.
Okay, so a massive thanks to you for doing this tonight, Wayne. And an even bigger thanks to what you do for the community. So really appreciate that. And guys, stick around for a minute if you like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody. I'm still here.
Okay, so what happened then?
I don't know. You're still live.
Yeah, I pressed the wrong button.